Hey crew, this is a view of the wall at the back of the house we're trying to buy, and what it looks like from the outside of the wall, looking out towards Menai Strait here. And I know I hadn't pasted that in, but if you go back, you'll see the stuff on top of the wall there, the plants on top of the wall. It's because nobody's been up there for 10 years. But our first order of business will be to clean that up. This is us driving. We're coming down something called Munt, which means mountain, or maybe it's Muneth, which also means mountain, I think. And that's Bardsey Island out there. We're at the end of the Shin Peninsula. But I just thought this was cool footage, and you might find it interesting. This was a super windy day, but we had a nice drive. It was sunny and beautiful, and we'd never been down here before. So as you might be able to tell, I'm just cutting in random footage here in this video, just touching base. You may recognize what this is. These are people out swimming in the Irish Sea, or bathing, as they say in the UK, I think. We were out for a walk at about, I don't know, it was about 9 in the morning, probably, with my mom. We took her to the beach here and went out to this island called Unislanduin. And I saw these folks, and I actually wanted to stop and chat with them, but they were just all the way out there when we walked by. And so I felt like we couldn't, I couldn't wait. You know, we walked on with Mom, and then they eventually came back in, which was nice. So yeah, it was a great trip. We had a good time. We had one day where the weather was really windy and it was kind of overcast, and I put up a time lapse. This is like an hour and a half of what it looked like out in front of the place we were staying. And it's kind of cool the way the clouds are forming and dissipating in the same place. The lenticular clouds is what I think they're called, because they look like lenses spinning. But Mom and I were looking, I was like, boy, those clouds are moving fast. But it turns out they were just forming, like the moisture in them would form and move and then dissipate again. I'm not sure what atmospheric conditions caused that, but it was pretty cool. And I enjoyed watching it and then taking a video of it. And that evening, actually, it kind of cleared up, and we went out for a walk on the pier, Sarah and I, and there was this guy on the jet ski pulling a water skier, and unfortunately I didn't get the camera up until the water skier went down, and then he had trouble getting back up. As you'll see here, he wasn't able to get back up while I was shooting. But it was interesting because it had been kind of cold and windy all day, and then all of a sudden, right about sunset, it warmed up. It was like 65 degrees, and it got really still. And so this is the Menai Strait, and the guy's out water skiing on the Menai Strait, which was pretty cool. And here I tried to get it again. He's tried to pull him up, and I couldn't get the camera to focus. But yeah, I just thought you'd be interested in seeing people in the water. So, you know, if you want to come visit us, if we get this place, you know, there'll be opportunities for you to get in the water every day, just to be clear. And not just any water, the Menai Strait or the Irish Sea. So this was the last morning we were there, and Sarah and I went to this little church that was on the Menai Strait for our morning outing. And on the way back, you can see all these birds. There was just all these crows all around us, and it was kind of cool. So I got the dash cam video and put it together, and that's the Shin Peninsula in the background there before we turned the corner. Anyway, I thought it was just kind of a cool little shot there you'd appreciate. This slow motion, if you look off to the right, actually right in the middle right now, you can see there's a sign and we're driving through Wrexham. So you should be excited about this. We just drove through Wrexham on the way to Whittington, and we had this crazy experience where there was a detour that ended up taking us about 20 miles out of our way. Literally, we got to a point a block from the bridge where we had to cross a river, and the road was closed, and the only way to get around, and it was in a little village, the only way to get around was to go back and loop around on these country roads. And as we're looping around, we got behind a really slow-moving tractor, and as we passed it, we realized it was a steam-driven tractor. It was pretty cool. Unfortunately, it added, half an hour to our, actually maybe even more, to our drive to London. So yeah, the trip was good. It ended up not being too bad. I think I complained to you about the return when we had to go through customs, and their, TSA is giving my mom, my 83-year-old mother, who's just gotten off of a flight from London, the going over for like 20 minutes because they're worried about, some, I don't know if they thought her pacemaker was a problem, or her artificial shoulders, or her artificial hip, but they're just looking for trouble. So anyway, that first shot was us flying into Seattle, and here we're taking off on the way. Well, we're not taking off, they're just revving up the engine as we're getting ready to fly back to Pullman. I don't think I got any footage of us flying over Pullman, but we did a nice long loop on that trip. Anyway, once we got back on Friday morning, I went for a hike with a friend of mine, William. William, with the coffee roaster. And, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Sarah and I, the first morning back, we're out for a walk, and there are these two turkeys on the 10th Street Bridge. Just being turkeys. Out of the road, you idiots. It was actually kind of funny. I couldn't believe, first of all, how sort of tame they were. And I guess I'm not surprised how stupid they were, but they were really stupid as well. So, turkeys. Anyway, I went for a hike with William on Friday, and we went up Kenai Ridge, and it was super windy going up, but it's about a 13-mile round trip hike there and back, and it was like 2,200 feet elevation gain on the way up, and then coming back down. And we ran into a bunch of wild horses up there. Not a bunch, there's I think there were 4 or 5 of them. Here you see 4. So I did get some footage of them, and it's kind of funny that, I always post pictures and videos of the wild ponies that we run into in Wales, when here we are, half an hour outside Pendleton, and you got these wild horses up in the hills here, which I know I've talked to you about before and I've seen before, but it was fun. This was on the hike back down. Actually, it's funny because we'd walked up this road, hadn't seen any sign of them, and we were walking back, and I saw them in the distance, and I said to William, those look like, and they were just like dots, on the landscape because we were far enough away, and I said, those look like horses, or are they just cows? And he said, I think they're horses. So, yeah. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It's good to be home. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend in Menominee. I will talk to you soon. So take care.